Hello and welcome back to Mr. Carrow Plays FM 26. This is episode 3 of the Relegation Challenge. Now, what that challenge is we simmed until the last 10 games of the Premier League season, and then we chose the team bottom of the league. That team was Wolves, and this is the table so far, which I'm going to put in the top right-hand corner here, of our progress up to this point. Let's roll the footage and see how we got on in episode 3. Okay, so the game has loaded and we're on the portal screen. Let's go and have a quick recap of what we've done up to this point. So if we go to our fixture schedule up here, you can see that in our first game, we drew 0-0 with Aston Villa. In our second game, and I'll put that up in the top right-hand corner here, like a little image of the match stats. In our second game, we lost 2-0 to Liverpool, and I'll do the same here. And in our third game, we drew 1-1 to Brentford. And I'll put that somewhere on the screen as well. Yeah, the annoying thing about the Brentford game was that was the game that we had played, and then the game crashed, and then we replayed it again, and then we drew. I didn't want to cheat the game too much to cheat this challenge, so I kind of accepted the first draw win that came up. It was a loss of losses, so we obviously actually did pretty good to win the first time round to Brentford. But nevertheless, that is where we find ourselves up to this point. Now, if we look down at the next fixture, it's pretty alarming. It is Arsenal, which is not fantastic. We may well do 2 games in this particular episode simply because I'm not expecting the Arsenal game to go well, but you never know. Our next game after that is West Ham, followed by Leeds, and then Spurs, Sunderland, Brighton, Fulham, and Burnley. So really, the way to look at this and the way that I'm looking at it is as long as we're in touching distance, by the time we get to Sunderland, then I think we might be okay. But we'll see how we go. It's not if we may even beat Arsenal, who knows? We will hopefully definitely get something against West Ham. But we'll see how we go. But let's go to our current injury list. Now, this is pretty much, as it were, where we were previously here. But if we go to our current injuries, it's going to take a couple of seconds to load. You'll see that actually there's only one player in there. So we're in a pretty promising situation even, sorry. When you consider this to Norwich in real life, for example, where they've got like 18 injuries, this is fantastic. We really don't have many injuries, and that is brilliant to see. In terms of suspensions, I think we're pretty much in the same kind of boat. I have no idea actually how to get there. I haven't tried to. That was a mistake, clearly. But yeah, I don't think we've got any suspensions for this game. On the old game, it'd be nice and easy to see. On this game, it is not. Fair enough. So what we're going to do is we are going to sim until we get kind of semi-close to that game. Yeah, and a slightly even, shocking event. I skipped kind of a little bit, and then a news article came up that I wasn't expecting. We've got a player in the team of the week. Would not have expected that. Certainly not for a draw, but hey, maybe the Premier League had a bit of a bad week, I guess. But let's find out who it is. If we click on this, it's going to tell us it is the only kind of orange/gold kit on there, I guess. Probably gold for them, actually. I'll probably just put, lots of people are going to complain about that. Is this dude up here? His name is Marshall Muntisai? I have no idea. Sorry for butchering that. But actually, if we look at his rating for last game, it was actually 7.5. I think it kind of went I guess because he scored, maybe. But it did go relatively under the radar. I didn't think of that, to be fair, being as important as it was. But hey, we'll take it. Well done, Marshall. We're going to sim to the prediction of the game. And I think we're going to have a pretty good idea what they're going to say is going to happen in the next game. But you never know. Okay, so we are now starting the game. I'll hide the score at the top of the game, the top of this match, so that you don't know what the end result is. But anyway, we're on attack here. We're about to pass the ball to our other central defenders. Nice silky play from the best team in the Premier League. Only joking. Maybe one day, but not with me. All right, it's raining really hard. Pretty typical, I would say, of a midweek game. Of my experience, many days in Carrow Road when it's rained on me. Not fantastic, but it is what it is. Okay, Gomez on the attack. Is he going to cross the ball in? Is he going to run past everybody? Who knows? He's going to do neither of the options, but he does win a corner, and that is pretty good for us because I believe we are pretty good from corners. Certainly the tactic that I put in is pretty good, and also we've got some pretty physical players. So if we're going to score, it's probably likely to come from those opportunities. And as with Arsenal, they are basically the set piece masters. So I'm sure they'll pretty much score every time they get one as well. But you never know. Anyway, we cross the ball in. Is he going to take this in? Gomez again. Is he? He's got to score, surely. We've got to score that. We do. Fantastic. Wow. Last one with a goal. Wolves 1, Arsenal 0. Let's see how this goes. It would be shocking if it gets any more than a comeback and a win, but we'll see. We'll see where we go. I am shocked. Cross the ball in midfield. Gomez. We could actually have a situation where Gomez passes to Gomez, but that's probably only knee that finds it. Funny, but hey, anyway, that is a possibility, but not at this moment. Gomez on the ball here, basically passing around in a little triangle as if we've already won the game. Not recommended, but we're doing it anyway. Look at this silky play on the relegation, destined for relegation, certainly under my management, Wolves. But yeah, great shot there. Wow, fantastic shot. Corner to Wolves. Now we'll see what happens here. See if we can get another goal here. Gomez, we really could get our go. Can you imagine Gomez to Gomez goal? That would be insane. I'm sure. I wonder if that's happened. It certainly hasn't happened for Wolves because they never win, but in real life. But it would be pretty cool if it did happen. Wow, that's a crazy ball. We'll score again. Oh, nearly. Wow, we're all over Arsenal. I don't actually think Arsenal have had even had a highlight yet, which is fantastic. We'll take it. I don't actually know how far we're into the game, but we'll take it if we can. Wow, Gomez. Does he pass to Gomez? No, he doesn't. Clears the ball. Gomez pass to Gomez. No, he passes to Chan, who then passes in midfield, and we have another shot and a good save by Raya. Gilmore, what? Billy Gilmore in midfield for Arsenal. Now, if you're just sitting for Norwich, you'd never assume that Billy Gilmore would play for Arsenal. I can't imagine he will in real life, although I believe he is probably doing okay for Napoli. He certainly was at the start of the season, and then I kind of lost interest from there. Kind of a passive ex-Norwich player interest, if you like. Ben White seemingly playing maybe as a defensive midfielder. Some interesting choices here. Maybe they just tried everything because they thought they were going to beat us really easily. Anyway, passed out wide to Martinelli. He could definitely run past us like we're not there. Martinelli takes the ball and crosses the ball in to Declan Rice. Declan Rice is very advanced, and he does a weird cross-field pass. Don't know why anyone would do that. To Saka, but if it did score, it could be fantastic. Oh, that's a corner. We survived. We're going to see the upcoming corner. We know that Arsenal are basically masters from set pieces. So this is not ideal, I would say, if this goes any close to our goal. No, we managed to clear it, but Saka gets the ball back. He passes out wide to Odegaard. They shoot. It's going to be another corner. Hopefully we're not just going to watch the rest of this game. Isn't just going to be a repeat of many corners. It could be. Certainly could be. I have literally no idea. At the second, at least, Saka is about to cross the ball in. And somehow they didn't do better than I did worse from that than I anticipated. Surprised when you play those kind of balls. Anyway, the Arsenal, again, we must have some form of attack there because they're clearing the ball. But it is their highlight by the look of it, which is not good for us. Saka passes infield to Odegaard. If I butcher the name, I do apologize. I have literally no idea how you pronounce those names. Hit them a match of the day, but instantly forget after they've been mentioned. Martinelli passes infield to Gilmore, the wonder kid, apparently. Ben White passes back to Gabriel. Gabriel passes all the way over to, I can't remember, the name moved too quickly, but he's a very good defender, I know that. He passes to Saka, who is going to maybe cross the ball in. There's certainly not enough crosses on FM that I can see. It's all very low. I know that you can set it up to be floated crosses, but it seems to be a lot of the build-up play is very dramatic, I think, in FM, personally. Even depending on, it doesn't even seem to matter what tactic you've got. Anyway, Martinelli literally ran past us like we weren't there. Martinelli on the wing. Does he cross it in? No, he doesn't. Is he going to just run past us like we're not even there? He certainly is, and we get another corner. Now, there apparently are 3 minutes added on until half-time. Now, we are in to the second half. Going okay. Gabriel passes the ball in field. Still 1-0 up. That's the crazy thing about this. We are still 1-0 up. Now, I will put a little score update on the side there because I know that I'm getting rid of the blurred out the actual score. So by making a new one, we can still keep up to date with the score. And it is Saka on the ball, passes the football into Odegaard, who passes the ball to Ben White, who passes in to Billy Gilmore, who does a absolutely outstanding ball across the field. Never in a million years thought he would do that. And Martinelli hits the ball over the top of the crossbar. Saka on the ball here. Is he going to have a shot? You definitely probably could, but no, he's going to keep running for us like we're not even there. And then Skelly on the ball here. Is he going to shoot? He shot and just missed. Wow, that was some unique save. That was definitely a unique save. I don't really know how we managed to survive that. But hey, we did, and that's all that matters. But Trossard is about to cross this ball in with a lethal cross, and we headed clear again. He's on the ball here. Saka passes the ball fantastically out to Trossard. Trossard runs at the defense. He passes infield. He passes back to Trossard. Skelly on the ball here. He is literally running through here, and he actually has scored. I kind of took that one up. That's annoying. That's up. But hey, it is what it is. We can't win them all, and maybe we'll win this. But certainly, that was a good goal. I don't get disappointed because I didn't expect anything to really come of this. So if it does at the end, obviously we're pretty happy of that. And if it doesn't, we kind of writ this one off anyway. So that's how I was looking at it, which is very pessimistic, I realized. So anyway, we crossed the ball. They crossed the ball, sorry. And we are defending it. Nearly over now. This game is getting very close to the end, and hopefully we can survive to the end, but we'll see how we get on. Martin Skelly, and even if maybe we can take the lead. I keep being very pessimistic. I don't know why. But we might be able to survive and also win. It is possible. But no, the ball is crossed in, and we're looking for a ball in here. Here we go. This could be a good chance. Have it. And it is a goal for Arsenal, but apparently it could be offside. VAR is checking this goal now. Let's see what happens here. Assistant referee is looking. VAR never helps, but it does today. It says it won't count, which is fantastic. The last minute of the game now. We've got a slightly injured dude running on the ball who basically lost it, and surprised he didn't fall over injured. Hopefully he hasn't re-injured himself. He just had a fitness test. We played him. We put him on the bench hoping that we wouldn't need him. But obviously we did bring him on, and it looks like he may have picked up an injury, so that's probably going to be a longer-term deal, but we'll see how we go with that. Can we hold out? Really, at this point, we're 5 minutes added on. We're just trying to hold out as long as we can. And if we can hold out... Oh, ball for the middle here. Here we go. Larson is running through. He should score. He does not score. So you can really sum that up, really. He didn't score. He nearly scored. We could have snatched at the very end there. How amazing would that have been if we'd have snatched it? Maybe we still will. Got a corner here. Waiting for the delivery. Taking absolutely 10 years. I'm guessing the time wasting, which is fantastic. I definitely would ask them to do that. And the final whistle goes, and the game ends 1-1, which is certainly not what we expected from the outcome of the game. Have a quick look at the stats. If you look, there is 52%. Actually, we had more possession than Arsenal. We did not have more shots or shots on target. We did have a pretty good expected goal ratio with 1.04 compared to their 1.28. And if you look at shots, I know I said we had less, but we had 7 and 5 on target. So pretty good overall, actually, in terms of consistency there. That is compared to Arsenal's 11 and 7. Now, if we look at the momentum, pretty much we had spells, definitely a lot of domination at the first half, which we saw in the highlights. Then Arsenal kind of took over. We had a little bit more. And then essentially the last chunk was definitely Arsenal taking most opportunities there. Now, you're going to join me in a second, and we're going to look at the league table, and then we're going to close things out. Okay, before we have a quick look at the league table, I know you can kind of see it down there anyway, but we'll look at the point tally. We're going to look through the fixtures of the weekend. Now, the first fixture of the weekend was Burnley versus Fulham, which directly involves us. They drew in that game, so Fulham did not do us a favour in that game. Then when we go to Saturday, we can see that Leeds did lose to Brentford, which is fantastic. That really kind of helps us out there. And then if you look at kind of other results like Sunderland, they did win, which is not great. They're kind of in touching distance of us. Now, we played on Monday. If you look at Sunday's results, Spurs beat Nottingham Forest. Now, we have Spurs coming up soon, but Nottingham Forest are right in there with us. So that is a fantastic result for us. Now, if the crazy thing that we did was we drew to Arsenal on Monday Night Football, we drew to Arsenal. Now, if we have a quick look at the table, what does that do for us? Now, obviously, it doesn't do masses to us, to be fair. It's not like it revolutionized our season. However, we are now off bottom. We are on 21 points, and we are 1 point away from Burnley. So hopefully in the next game, at least we can jump to 18th in the table. Then if you look above, in front of us, stopping us from exiting the relegation zone is Nottingham Forest, and they are on 28 points. So we are now 7 points behind them now. I think that means that we gained a point from last week, potentially. If not, at least we are still in touching distance, which is not too bad. Now, if we go back to our fixtures one final time in this episode, and we look at it, you can see that our next game is against West Ham. Now, West Ham, if we go back to our Premier League table very, very quickly, are currently 15th. So they're not doing fantastic, but they're not doing terrible. That is our next game. And then after that, we, as you can see, have Leeds and then Tottenham Hotspurs. Now, if you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe. Hit the notification button to see when videos are released. Thank you and goodbye. Always believe, bleeding gold. Sometimes waiting for this to sim through is absolutely boring.